It's Sunday, December 4th, 2022. I am in this. I attended today. I don't even know where to begin. I've been sitting here quietly, trying to decide where to begin. I went to church today with Anthony, or Anthony, um, 2012. I know what he wore. Um, to church. Today was greening the church. It actually is under their new section of the calendar. It's the Jesse tree. Um, so today was Jesse Tree Sunday, is what they called it. And then it's the second Sunday of this new portion of the calendar, for which I have not named, nor am I. It's in my paper. That's between me and whatever. But it's the Zion Episcopal Church. And so I went. They blessed the tree. There were ornaments made, symbolic gestures. Uh, the parish was brought up and asked to adorn the tree. Afterwards, um, actually, we got there early because it was my turn to help with setting up for a social hour with the tables and the chairs. Um, so I went and I did. Now, my son, I want him to be a participant of something, of outreach. When outreach reaches for him, I want him to have a good attitude. I mean, like, there's been so much withheld that the small amount of help at this point, I want him to be an active participant. I want him to have a good attitude. I want him to see the world with hunger for getting out of the situation for which I'm stuck within. But I'm in a vow of silence between myself and he. I don't say anything about the situation at home. I keep very quiet, just as I did with the Romer boys. Um, so that's just for their mental safety, I suppose. Um, so there's that. So Father Carl was kind enough. He invited Anthony. I said that I would really like him to participate. Um, but I could use a little reinforcement or help or encouragement. So the invitation came directly from Father Carl, which I was, son of a gun, I was so appreciative of that opportunity that he gave, in all honesty and sincerity. He spoke directly to Anthony, and it was a different dynamic. Um, and it was much more appreciative. Anthony was more receptive of it. Um, and so I was also honored for the part that he offered Anthony. Um, um, and so we participated, and he read for the Zion Christmas pageant. And I see um, now, when it was my turn at St. John's Episcopalian Church, I know I was given a part. I cannot remember, I can't recall what part I was given. um, but I did participate in whatever was asked of me. I only really remember it happening 1 year, and then I don't remember them ever doing it again. But again, that time frame is really, it's almost like the memories have been stolen. Like like if you think of like a tower of a computer and somebody defragmented the computer and stole the files off of the tower that your memories, your photos, your whatever was on, and somebody messed with it and took those memories and pictures off and wiped the hard drive. That's what it almost feels like in certain parts and sections of my life frame that I've gone through. Now, interestingly enough, I saw yesterday a movie reference. Um, they 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 put together, someone put together this movie called Source Code. Um, it's about a train, meaning like a railway train car, and this person who already died and is in some kind of capsule, and he was a Air Force pilot, and he dies, but his life, he still remains alive in this like time capsule, is almost how they describe it for the theater. And then they take his consciousness and they throw his consciousness into a situation on this train. And he has to get to know the passengers, and he has to figure out where the bomb is on the train. It's already detonated. It already exists. But he just wakes up in the situation. It also turns out he's in someone else's body. Again, I don't know if that's a ghost, Holy Spirit way of like explaining something, but I'm like in tying real things together. So I'm like, now that's interesting. And it's not only the bomb, though, in that particular train that they know is going to go off. Like, they know that he only has 8, and this is the thing, they use the number 8. He only has 8 minutes, but he's died several times in this, for lack of a better term, do you call it POV? I mean, it's his point of view inside the train car. And he has access to get on and off the train and interact with several different people that are also on the staged set. And then there's like oncoming rails. So it stops and starts several times. And then when it stops, he winds up back into this time capsule talking to this Air Force person, or at least what they portray to be an Air Force person, but on like a video screen. And then there's some kind of whatever technique that they use. I don't know what that's about. And so I could only imagine in a relay. So, um, so this is like an interesting way of explaining, and that for perspective. And then the there's the Air Force representative in uniform, and then there's this, I don't know if it's contracted or a scientist or whatever, who's also in the same field office that she is, which is not in physical contact with the captain, the Air Force captain, who's already supposedly died, but his synaptic connections in quantum realm still can be attached to this person in this train scenario, um, for trying to explain whatever and whatever. So anyhow, so there's some kind of bridge there in consciousness, and so he completes the task. He finds out after several attempts, he does figure out who the person who planted the bomb was. He's also able to find out who, that the man also has a van. If he finds out his name, he finds out why he did it. I mean, like, he found out everything. And then it turns out that the man also has a van parked in some parking lot that he eventually follows him to. He discovers this entire thing. and then he's able to come back and update it. So anyway, so I was watching it in the time capsule that I'm trapped in at this point, and I'm just like, right, in New York, and I'm just like, right. And there, so it was talking about dirty bombs, but more so, it was the fact that his real body is kept somewhere um, alive, and then the synaptic connections are thrown. That goes back to that whole conversation. Like, where do we go when we dream? Like, there's some reality in that. Again, I don't really have the specifics, but I see in the movies they tried to make some kind of connection with explaining it. I don't know if that's like investors, private equity. I don't know if that's like, again, I mean, in my heritage file, I know I'm a granddaughter of, and the last name. I get that. Walking around, nobody knows that. And then there's the whole, um, my birthday. I'm a daughter of August. I mean, holy crow. Uh-huh. I don't know how to, I mean, it is what I am. It's how I was born. I mean, I don't have a I don't have a gender identity issue there. Never did. I was perfectly happy. I know I have a magi. I have a star king. I mean, I passed the hands of time. I can explain time and space and my relation within it. So I'm not quite sure where I was left unkept when I needed like hummingbird flower relationship. I also saw today they put up something um on the news about they have a redheaded um daughter, and she was going through her bar mitzvah of coming of age of sorts, and she's got purple bags in, I guess it's a mitzvah, meaning special good deed. I've learned that just recently on the news, with the help of the locals, um, in sharing some of their special words. Um, so that was interesting. Um, and then they had a symbol of a tree, which I don't know what sector uses Yggdrasil, but I mean the a tree, and then it had a bird and flowers on it. So again, I see some attempt at like, is there life out there that's getting some form of a message? I get that. I see symbols and signs of it. Um, I'm just working through my whatever's going on at um, like neuromotor function is for me personally. Like if I do a systems check, like at a source code movie where I'm on a train or I'm thrown in, I mean, I'm a female, but if, and he was a male in this, whatever, but thrown into a body, into having to do an update on systems analysis. Where's my body machine in the age 44, at age 44, that's been on my person since I arrived? Same person that gave birth to this special son and has this special place in the hierarchy of stars and the solar system and planetary, that seems to be having some form of problem with some undefined system The system's undefined. There's it's a black hole where I am, or where I've been kept in a series of rooms. Like, there is no protocol, there is no definition, there is no, like, so I'm just at this point being thrown between like a body and then some form of whatever. I thought source code was a really good reference point. So thank you for whoever put that together. Um, and however these things are designed and then timed out in such a structured manner. Um, I did not have a hat on, but there was a NFL referenced whatever um, that was inside the building today. Um, Not sure if that's Manning Direct or whatever. I had a or Triplet Direct. I'm not quite sure again. At son of a gun. I mean, there's a lot of details to what I go through daily. Um, I am grateful because there's just so many pieces that could be so confusing to like an outsider. Um, but they're of what I can and what I can't define. But my concern with the 1975 character um, is I don't know where he goes with my son. He just takes him and goes places, and I don't know what. I mean, it's my son is the brother of a star king, of a magi. I'm having issues as the creator and the birthing mother of this special child. My special child has been taken from my person and is being housed with a man who tried to murder me. And everybody acts like this is okay. And I have I have my youngest son who's still with my person, but we have this problem that's been hanging around my life for way too long. Um, and now I have toilet paper with. And so there's this problem. And so he did mention that he was taken to the Bronx last night, which, again, I'm not all right with this at all. But I know that they know that. But there's a lot of things I've been dragged into and through. There's also this part of Yellowstone where there's this really angry white-haired woman who really hates Beth and is like trying to who really, I mean, like, there's a conversation that ensues in season 4 episode 10 where it is so predominantly like, uh-oh, like, who is that in the real world? Like, is that one of those hidden features that I have no access to at being a daughter of August, granddaughter of August, and a granddaughter of Gun, like as G under in this area? I mean, there's so much that's been hidden, and there really is no definition. So with any accuracy anyway, it's all of like these communist and socialist sketches, and I'm sitting in something called a democratic republic. So I'm really confused how private equity is working those wheels of whatever. Um, Especially being that I birthed a magi, I birthed a star king. I have depth perception and Tiefennacht. I mean, as far as being, I mean, I don't have I said to one woman this morning, she came up to me in the social hour after church. It's a small gathering. It is not like a gala. It is just whatever. And there's a man who had a baseball cap on with a NFL reference. So, um, but he did not speak to me. But there was this woman who came over to speak to me. She mentioned some names. She mentioned something about mystics. And again, like, people say these words to me. I have no idea. Like, it's like meeting humans for the first time every time I meet someone. I'm just an independent. Like, what do you mean by that? And so she was saying, I didn't, she said it was a French saint, which I had never heard. And again, I have past issues between Paris, France, and Quebec, French. I had no idea I was going to be hurt and like smothered between two sections of French that don't get along. Who knew? I mean, like, nobody teaches everybody's history, at least, and even like as a protection. Like, I had no idea that Paris, France was different than Quebec French. I had no idea that there might be some kind of socio-political like unrest, that then learning the language of French in North America might be harmful to my health. Who knew? I mean, like, is there warning labels with you humans? Seriously. So that's frightening. But anyway, but I'm always respectful because I love when French is spoken. It's just something. But so anyhow, um so she was saying something about a French saint. I had no idea what she was speaking of, but I wanted to know what she meant by it. And I said, I don't, I said, do you speak French? She said, no. I said, neither do I. I said, I speak proverb, maybe. I don't speak sophisticated. I don't know how to take verbs and make them fancy and make beautiful sounds come out. I was like, I don't. I know some how to read certain whatevers that are of utmost importance to whatever I know. I was like, but I can't speak it in like some sophisticated whatever. So she laughed. So I said, there's two for our purpose in this building. There's and for what's going on with my, because she was asking my son about being picked for a certain role in the pageant, and um, she was speaking about a mystic and about a saint, and then it just went into, then she was speaking about something about a Unitarian. I was like, I have no idea what that means. Really, I don't. I was like, I've never met a Unitarian. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means to them. I mean, it seems like a whole field of study, and like and I even said to her, I was like, there are so many pieces to this gigantic puzzle. I was like, and there's definitions that, I mean, when people say things to me, I fall short of being fully engaged in that. Like, I don't really understand what a Unitarian, where that comes into importance, and so on and so forth. So, and then we talked very lightly on like the New York City education right now that my son's receiving, and my concern, not necessarily, I said, but with the teachers, the teaching staff is great. I was like, but it's, again, it's something I'm having trouble defining. I don't know if it's the cart, or if it's the horse, or if it's the attachment of that mechanism. But there's something going on in New York City for my son that I feel like he's not getting a certain level that he's going to need. Like, if I look down the road at his future and trying to plan for him, to be able to be a respectable adult, the pathway between that and where he is now, I don't feel like his foundation is being built properly. And I don't know how to voice that level of concern because I'm not, I, I, I don't know what it should look like. I just know I've seen pictures, I've seen moving pictures where there are headmasters and there are portrayals of different education systems. And I just know that my son is not receiving that level of care. And I mean, again, it's if there's benchmarks put in place for receivership and level of care of certain people's family members that do care somewhere in the world, that do want to see good things and know that if they're contributing to a certain, say, pot of funding, that their funds are being appropriated properly. So in that sense, I feel that knowing my son has spatial relation to not only myself, but also to I'm the star Alex and I have in like spiritual world of Holy Spirit and Holy Ghost. Um, there's then our day-to-day care and needs, and how is that? Because I know it, like when I sit down quietly and I meditate on it and I follow my parents' life journey and my life journey up until this point, um, and looking for where I am now, attrition rate and amount of opportunity and who was given that amount of opportunity. And it was almost like someone shut the valve off. And I don't know if it was purposely or not, but I'm feeling the very real effects, it feels like, of somebody shutting that valve off. And now I'm suffering under something that I'm having a real hard time explaining. Um, but it's been pieces and it's been forceful pieces to lead one to believe one set of conclusions in rationale if you don't know the details of the actual situation. So that becomes a fact. It just becomes factual. And not like a we believe kind of a way, but like, no, this is what actually happened. And now that it's actually happened, there's other mechanical things that go into because of how I was birthed, knowing I had a special mark and that I was going to bring this special child in. This did not happen overnight, this church and this theology, this thesis, this theory. They've known about this. This has been an ongoing issue. I I did not know what a Herod was, or Herod, or her OD. I don't know what that is. And then there's this mythical name. I can only imagine I believe it's off of the word gregarious. Um, Asking a lot of friendly questions. That some of this, whatever. Um, so I saw source code that is a really good analogous in a parabolic, paramount, paranormal way of explaining some of the whatever. I noticed tonight also as I was running, I took a video of it, which I'll put up. The video itself is not really like, but it just sets the scene. It looks like the cinematography of, they keep showing the train from this one angle. And it just so happens to look like the run that I try to do at the Joe Michaels on the QB 1381. Um, Now that I'm having like this neuromotor deficiency, I also know, like, listen, I'm not. blind. I know I'm carrying 40 pounds more than where I already think overweight is for my frame. Like, and again, this is a personal story. It's my personal feeling. It's my personal weight I'm carrying. I'm at 40 pounds past where I first thought I looked heavy. So I get that. But I'm in this environment and I'm trying to survive and fix. There's something going on between metabolic, environmental factors, and not as excuses, because I have no room for excuses. I don't give myself room for excuses. I'm still out there, still ran for 2 hours today. So I had that motion to teach my brain how to walk or run again, to try to activate the muscles, to build muscle memory back in. I don't know what's going on with my jugular and my carotid. It just doesn't feel, I don't feel the pulse like I used to. I don't know if it's something coming off the aorta. I mean, I'm, again, body mechanics check in, like the check light went on, but I keep going to the doctor for diagnostics and they keep telling me everything's all right. So then that, just like who's in cahoots with what? I don't know. So all I can do is just, where's my health at? I'm deteriorated between ocular and neuro for, I can read um, small English passages at times. Sometimes I'm having trouble too. And I don't know if that has to do with tactical lighting on the moving pictures that I now am so expired. Haven't really watched TV my whole life. Bits and pieces. Um, Sometimes I stare at it, I just zone out. I don't pay attention to what's on the screen. But it's kind of like that's this they had on the Jungle Book. There's where like the eyes go funny, whatever. But um, but now that I'm having to look at this outside source for what's going on in public service announcement, shoestring budgets of string theory, what kind of clues are they throwing, just so I can try to weave together what's going on and where am I needed at, like, where's my security? Like, where's my social security? Where is my place in the world? I mean, like, where's my hummingbird? I know he exists. I just have no idea how to get to that level of, like, there's some stuff going on. I mean, like, some real serious stuff. I'm sure from your side, at knowing that there's, like, I mean, and then I look at source code in the sense of, like, the Air Force and the scientist knew that this train situation had to be figured out, and there were multiple dirty bombs throughout the city, and they were trying to save millions of people by performing this 1 8-minute task to figure out this one person who, and the situation around that person. So again, without giving excuses where whatever, it gives me some leeway in being able to bring words and construct to, there's outside reps that know it exists. There's the position I'm stuck in. And now here's a way, a conduit, in order to lean or reference in. I see it. Like, I see it. I know you know about it. Here's where my health mechanic update is. In, I don't know where else to go. I'm sandwiched between Lewis and Linda and whatever the heck they do when I'm not around them. And then what happened with the 1976 problem and then the 1975 problem that I'm still stuck in. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxies broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.